This is Shooting USA, with news and information for America's gun owners.
The Ithaca Gun Company was founded in 1883, taking the name of the location, Ithaca, New York. The original company made high-quality double guns that are very collectible today. And in 1937, Ithaca introduced the Model 37 pump gun, which was a huge success for a while, until new owners lost the quality and ran the company into the ground. But now Ithaca is back in a new location, Upper Sandusky, Ohio, thanks to two cousins reviving the name, the products, and the quality. This is Upper Sandusky, Ohio, where there's not much traffic on Sandusky Avenue. There are some semis heading out of town, but not nearly as many now. And there are businesses open on the square around the courthouse, but not nearly as many now. Even the rotunda of the courthouse tells you these are hard times, no budget for paint. Upper Sandusky was a supplier center to the auto industry. There were companies here making auto parts and components, but most are closed and gone. But amid the economic bad news, one company is shipping products as Ithaca is reborn to claim the history and the reputation that dates back more than 100 years.
What we're building here is the name of Ithaca Gun Company. Being over 100 years old, had one heck of a reputation. Our bottom line was to put that reputation back into the name and the quality of the product.
The first product to make a quality comeback is the Model 37, designed by John Browning. Pull. Pull. It was the volume seller when Ithaca was located in Ithaca, New York, before a series of different owners lost the quality and ran the company into the ground. Dave DeLubac bought what remained and brought in cousin Mike Farrell to run the new company that would build made-in-America quality once again.
Well, from that standpoint, we wanted to keep the quality in the gun. First off, it is 100% American-made, and we wanted to have a quality product out there, not one just here, open tolerances, slow it together, and have it go bang. We wanted somebody to be able to pass this gun down for generations, which have been done for many years now.
That quality begins with American-made steel, first profiled on the half as the first cuts to becoming a Model 37 receiver.
What we start with, Jim, is a block of 1100 series steel. Okay, there's a few special elements in this material that makes it applicable for a gun receiver. Okay, it's not only tough, all right, but it's very malleable, so should anything ever happen inside the receiver after it's formed, it will not shrapnelize or fragment apart to actually hurt the operator of a Model 37.
The operations on the first machine hog out the center of the receiver and drill in thread for barrel and magazine tube. Next up is 15 minutes of machining in Isaac Logsdon's Haas 500 mill. Isaac grew up here, got his degree here, and personally programmed the Haas with its 140 tools to hold the tolerances required for the new Ithaca Gun Company. Next to him, Larry Predmore is running trigger plates on his CNC mill to the same accuracy. Louis Troiano checks those tolerances for every part.
We check the certain features to the specified tolerances on the print. They're either in spec or they're out of spec. The guys need to adjust if they're out of spec or change tools or whatever they need to do to bring them back in. Some of our tolerancing is as tight as plus nothing minus a half. So there's quite frequent checks on that. We have gauging out there for the guys to use.
Louis will check hundreds of measurements on the trigger plate alone.
We've tightened the tolerances down from what the old Ithaca company used to run, which makes our parts a lot tighter. It's a lot tighter gun, there's no rattle in it.
The new tolerances aren't a problem for these machinists. Most are former tool and die makers. They're used to working in fractions of thousandths. and used to creating new solutions, like Roger Laraby's work on the barrels. The blanks are chucked from the bore, so all the machining and threading is true to the bore, and there is never a source of heat applied that would change the metal.
All of these positions are intended to hold the rib. They're machined onto the barrel. There's never any heat, no solder, no welding. It never alters the metallurgical properties of the steel. And regardless of what anyone tells you, you cannot solder or heat in individual spots without some minute deflection on the bore. We don't get any of that.
So the real point here is these barrels are true as the day you machine them.
They are true as the day we machine them. The bores never get out of round. The best you can buy, regardless of the cost.
And before we have you thinking this is a male-only machining shop, there's Lindsay King, running the engraving machine, computer-controlled engraving for the traditional game scene on the Model 37 receivers.
It's been around for a long time, and we figured we better keep the scene because everybody loves it.
Lindsay also has laser engraving to draw on for the best effect in doing commemoratives and custom art, if you like, for your Model 37. Polishing is next with Peggy Faulkner working barrels. She'll spend an hour on each one to get a mirror finish before the bluing. Then assembly, starting with the trigger plate buildup and testing the Model 37 trigger that breaks between 4 and 6 pounds with no creep, more like a rifle trigger than shotgun. There is a remarkable amount of fitting that goes into the final assembly of the Model 37 because of the tight tolerances. And the matched forend and stock are carefully fit to perfectly mate with the receiver. It's a matter of pride for everyone here that Ithaca is back and is now building the best you can buy.
It might be a common looking gun, but it's almost a hand-built gun, and because the tolerances are so tight. And we take pride in that. We take a lot of pride in that.
And our goal was to build a gun for a person out there, for the working man. Take it out, use it, cherish it. If you don't pass it down 10 years down the road, you know what, you're going to sell that gun. You're going to get your money back out of that product.
Well, that may be reassuring to get your money back, but I'm not doing it. This Model 37 is now a permanent part of the Scoutten family. And coming up, 2 guns from Ithaca that Ithaca never made. That's next. That is a sweet little piece.
ShootingUSA.com, your resource for firearms news and information.
In the early part of the 20th century, double guns were the sportsman's choice, side-by-sides. Well, they're collectible now as sporting clay shooters choose over-under guns. Well, the new Ithaca Gun Company is ready with theirs that may be the most accurate ever. And the new Ithaca is making a second model that the original Ithaca never made. The first of the 2 guns that never were before is the Model 37 28 gauge. It's perfectly downsized from the 12 gauge to where you may need to use your pinky to load the magazine, but what a shooter. That is a sweet little piece. Each of the 28 gauge guns is personally fitted and built by Bob Postel, who now has the title Master Gunsmith after 44 years as a tool and die maker. And Bob has a following waiting to buy.
Folks who buy these, are they more collectors?
No, not really. We have a lot of people that orders the single A for hunting. A lot of them does a lot of trap shooting with them. They're just an outstanding little gun as far as recoil and ease to shoot and pull down point.
Oh. Then there's the new Phoenix, the over and under the original Ithaca never built. but it's based on the famous top-locking action of the Knickerbocker single barrel that's so strong they're still shooting in competition 90 years after being introduced.
There's a top-locking system on this gun, just like the Knickerbocker single-shot Knickerbocker had back in the day of Ithaca. It's a really strong locking system for over-unders compared to a lot you see there. Low locking systems.
And it gets stronger with the Phoenix lower lugs that mate the monoblock to the receiver, machined in fractions of thousandths. The lugs take the pressure off the hinge pin and better transfer recoil to produce a softer shooting 12 gauge. And then there's the barrels. They are full floating, regulated at the muzzles by a slip joint. There's no chance a hot barrel will force the other barrel out of alignment. But how do you join the barrels to the monoblock without applying heat for solder? The answer is more Ithaca engineering. Tubular steel nuts torque the barrels in permanently before the nuts are machined to create the chambers. No heat required that would affect the trueness of the barrels. And if you want to enhance your Phoenix, you'll want to visit the stock room with woodman and cabinet maker George Fry to select your personal choice of American-grown walnut.
This one here is a really nice piece here. Some people can't see the grain until you get the shine on it like that. But one like this, I'd have this one over top of this one, because that one's... This one here should be expedition grade.
And expedition grade would cost you more, but you would be ordering a family heirloom, just as Mike Farrell and Dave DeLubac intended in bringing back the Ithaca Gun Company.
Being over 100 years old, had one heck of a reputation. Our bottom line was to put that reputation back into the name and the quality of the product.
This is the new Phoenix that's just now getting to gun shops. The price was standard grade wood, $2,500.